I got that opportunity and I took advantage of it, and I had fun with it, and it is what it is. So I'm ready to work in the office now. It doesn't matter to me as long as I'm got the power cat on and I'm representing my state. I don't care what my title is.
And just from your vantage point, what kind of energy has Chris brought to the room?
Oh, it's exciting. He's as excited as I am. He was jabbing me up in the elevator the other day. So, he was giving me some bang, bang, bangs. Let's go finish this out. And I'm like, heck yeah, let's go do this. So, it's been the excitement's there. He hung out in my office the day during all sign day for like 2 hours. We were watching kids. It's been awesome. So, he's all about recruiting, and that's great. And, there's going to be a change, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Thanks, Seiler. Appreciate it.
Seems pretty clear that Gene prioritized keeping you, from the very start. How much do you appreciate that? Did you just give you a sense of feeling like your work was noticed?
If I could really explain to you how much I appreciate it, I'd probably start crying because this is my home. I've been here for 12 years. I put everything I've had into this. I've been student coach at GA, probably even a janitor at one time. But I know I can relate with anybody that walks through that door. And I know I can have a conversation with any kid in the country. So, and I know who I am, and I'm just so glad that they saw it and they wanted to keep me, and I'm going to do everything I can still to help this place. And my wife understands, this takes a lot of time, and I'm not home a lot. And I got 2 little baby girls that I don't get to see a lot. But, I'm a Kansas kid, and I have a dad who's got a reputation that's better than mine, and the pressure's there. And, I got a grandfather that I hear about if I don't get a recruit or if we don't win a game. He's hard on me, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
I'm sure that you and Blake and Collin were close before, but is it coming any further the last couple of weeks being the guys that have, and I know there's more
yeah,
names too, but the guys that have held over?
No doubt. I recruited Collin.
Yeah.
I was here as a student coach, I think, then when we recruited. I remember driving around the 12-passenger van on a campus tour. Me and Blake were in each other's weddings. So, there's a tight bond, and Coach wanted to keep it, and he believes in us, and he's already treated us not like we're holdovers, like we would be on his staff if he could, he would have hired us up there, and that makes you feel like you're wanted, and they'll let you do your job. So that support.
I know you may not know for sure the answer to this, but Coach Klein has talked a lot about getting you more help recruiting-wise. What does a staff look like in your ideal world?
Definitely an offensive, defensive guy just to do recruiting. I know I have 2 guys that are QC/recruiting, but just recruiting only, and then. I know Hank's done a heck of a job. He came down with Coach from North Dakota State, and he's pulling up names that even I don't have. We're already firing out stuff and being more involved. And I don't know exactly because I probably need to get out and see some other places. But I know some places got 10 to 15 recruiting guys. So, I would love just to have 2 more. So.
I know you can't talk real specific numbers, but it looks pretty possible to get back up to 85 before this season. Is the roster in better shape than perhaps people perceived it was from a scholarship number going forward?
Yeah, I don't think the roster is really that bad, We just can't make misses. We got to sign guys, and, of course, we're always going to sign some development guys. Every program does, but you kind of roll that dice hoping for the best. And if you get the right character and the right kids, you can mold them. Of course, we want to get some guys, too, that have some 4 stars and all that stuff. But I think with a year under Coach's belt and with the next class, how many guys will graduate? That next year's class could be powerful, and the state of Kansas has got a lot of kids in it.
Other places you guys still hope to recruit? We know Kansas, Missouri, and the Metro are going to be important.
Yeah, Coach Seiler will probably get to stay in Louisiana. He's done a heck of a job down there. And the surrounding states, I know that Coach is big on the Midwest, and that's going to be cool and fun. And we're going to get into Texas. I know I'm on Twitter way too much, and I see what everybody was saying about Coach being able to recruit Texas. Well, that William Jones was a TCU commit first, and then he was an Arizona, or then a Cal commit. So obviously we can go down there, and I love selling the fact, he's got an FCS national championship, but let's get him an FBS national championship, and why not us? So it'll be fun.
Is that a message that played pretty well?
Yeah, and especially going to the DB's houses. He's a former defensive back, and he said it himself. How many coaches are defensive minded, let alone defensive backs? They were playing his highlight the day they announced him. They were playing his game against K-State, and I think he had an interception and something else. It was pretty cool watching it. And you're just like, wow, man, it takes you back. So it was cool seeing that.
You just talked about looking for long-rangey athletes, and I know we're only a week or so into this, but is there anything different that Coach Klein has you guys looking for than maybe you were under Coach Snyder?
It's been a whirlwind for Coach. You know, he's trying to win another national title, and then I give him all the credit in the world for doing that, not walking out on his kids. It says a lot about him. So we'll get into all that in the future, but obviously his offensive system, you know, we got to recruit towards that. Defensively, you know, you're a product of the league you play in. We got to have cover guys. We got to have pass rushers. And we got to have guys that can run. Yeah.
Like, this might be hard to answer without coming off as maybe like critical of Bill, but recruiting wasn't something that was on the front burner or even the back burner for him until after the season. You foresee that changing, I assume, with Coach Klein?
Absolutely. You know, you can tell it right now. I mean, we're already talking about not only finishing out this class, but getting started right away, January at the convention in San Antonio, talking about the 2020 class. And, you know, so it's a big deal. I mean, and you have to do it. You have to do it to compete.
Nowadays, I mean, that's
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You have to. You know, you're not just starting as juniors with these guys. It starts their freshman year for a lot of them. Definitely their sophomore year, and you got to get in the race at that time.
Did that make it difficult these past couple of years? I mean, obviously there's the uncertainty, but also the fact that, you know, Bill just didn't get out on the road and in front of these kids as much.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously no bigger hitter than the head coach. I mean, that's just the way it is. But you know, what Coach Snyder did here to build this program into an attractive place, I mean, that's why we're all here. Let's be straight about that, right? That's why we're here. But you know, if you're going to compete against that tier of talent, then that's what you have to have.
Levi Archer is a gray shirt that's going to be going on scholarship for you guys in January. What can you tell us about his game and what you kind of expect from him?
You know, Levi's a local guy, which we've always, you know, kind of leaned towards local guys, Kansas kids. I think he's got a lot of ability. You know, guy that played quarterback, guy that played safety. So obviously he's got a great understanding of the game. He's got a frame and he's got some athleticism about him that's a lot to work with. You know, they call us coach for a reason, right? So we got to get something done on our side. They can't just come in ready-made.
How different has this month of December been compared to the previous one? Just you take away, obviously, Coach Snyder retiring, just about you guys were able to focus completely on recruiting instead of kind of have to split your time with bowl prep as well.
Well, that's not how we want it to be around here. The early signing period last year, being the first year for that, going to a bowl game, that was hectic, big time. But it's the way it is. You got to adapt if you want to compete, and you just have to make it work, you know, because it's not going away.
It seems like in general, most of the players that we've been able to see are very excited, bought in, so to speak, with the new regime here. Was there much re-recruiting of your current roster that had to go on, or has it been pretty universal?
You know, I think the players are fired up. You know, they only had a couple days here with Coach, so a lot remains to be seen. But I think that's kind of par for the course too. You know, kids always seem to get excited about something new nowadays. You know, and it'll be time to roll our sleeves up and go to work in January when that break's over with.
How much attention have you or the kids of this team paid to North Dakota State, you know, last Friday night in that playoff game or going forward?
How much attention have we paid to them? A lot. You know, I think we're all watching defensively, offensively, the schemes that they run on offense. Coach Klein being a defensive guy, I'm watching what they do on defense. They've done a great job on both sides of the ball there, not only with coaching but evaluating, recruiting, and developing talent. So I know January 5th we'll all be watching that game close.
Do you like having a head coach that you can feed off of, being a defensive mind just like yourself?
Love it. You know, I'm always looking for new ideas. I learned a long time ago that if someone thinks they've got all the answers, you know, get away from them as fast as you can. So it's always great to have a guy with his experience. And it doesn't matter where you're at. Football's football. You know, obviously the Big 12 Conference is unique offensively, what you got to defend. But, you know, I think the Big 12 is changing a little bit, too, offensively, if you look at some of the new coaches coming in the league.
Hey, Blake, when you look at the guys from Free State that are coming here, how exciting is that to keep those guys coming to K-State?
I think it's very exciting. You know, obviously they've got a new coach there. They hired him a little bit earlier than we did, and we had the uncertainty here. So you're a little bit worried about that in the interim, but Collin and Taylor did a great job. Those guys are two offensive guys. Coach Klein came in and sealed the deal last Saturday, and big time.
How similar or different philosophically are you with Coach Kleiman defensively? You mentioned picking up new ideas. Fairly similar?
We talked ball last week when he was here briefly, and Very similar, 4-down scheme, a little bit of 3-down, blitz package, 3rd down stuff. Coverage concepts. We do some things that they don't do. They do some things that we don't do. So I think it's pretty exciting, some of the things that we could kind of mix and match there.
You guys had right around 10 commitments when the Snyder's retirement happened. You're sitting at 15 today. I know you always want to have more, but is this about as good as it could have gone in this period of time?
Obviously you get upset about the 3 or 4 that got away, but then you look back and you got 15 kids that are great kids, great fits for the program. So it's definitely a win, especially considering the coaching change and the uncertainty. No doubt about it.
You already asked about, Duke being committed here.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like you guys have had somewhat of a pipeline to the state of Georgia in recent years. Do you expect that to be something that continues, or is that something you guys haven't really talked about outside of that winning the KC metro area?
I think when you have a bunch of kids from an area and they're good players for you, that's always kind of what leads you to go back. And the players kind of start to recruit themselves. Mm-hmm. Haven't had enough time to visit with Coach Klein and his thoughts on recruiting areas other than, he's a big local guy, which is huge. I mean, I think that's kind of the imprint of any successful program. So I think we'll get to that in the months to come here.
Mm-hmm. Can you give me your thoughts on William Jones?
William Jones, super elite speed. I think he's got great cover talent. He's got great return talent. He's got a competitiveness about himself that you want in a corner, especially in the Big 12. And I think he's just scratching the surface of what he can be because, the good Lord gives you certain things, right? Speed's one of them. He's got that, and we can work with that.
Looking forward to talking to us more in the future?
I think so. It's going to be different now. We're not used to this, and as a college football coach, you got your hands full, but happy to do it, and we'll see how it goes.
Blake, I don't want this to come across as an awkward question, but I mean, when he was asked about it up front, he said that the coordinator stuff hasn't been finalized. Do you know that you're at least still in the running for that, so to speak? I'm not trying to get you in trouble.
No. We've had good conversations, and I know there's a lot that has to settle in the next week or so. But like I said, I'm happy to help out wherever I can. Being a K-State guy. So.
On that note, how was it year one as a defensive coordinator? Was it as hard as you thought it would be? Did it come easier than you thought? What was just the whole?
It's kind of like everything. You've been around it. I think the transition for me was as easy as it could have been, being in the program, knowing the players, knowing the league. But at the same time, there's things about it that you just don't know are coming until you're in those shoes, and you're in that seat and you're making those calls on 3rd down, So I'd be lying to you if I said it was an adjustment. It was an adjustment, but I think we handled it pretty well. I was happy with how the kids responded through a lot of adversity, a lot of injuries, and a lot to build on for sure. Things we did well, but things we certainly can do a lot better.
They make plays with their feet. They make plays with their arm off schedule. Both are accurate. I think when I went down and saw Chris last spring throw in person, being able to see how accurate he was, even in fundamental drills, and he was, see that in person was very impressive. And he's got a very strong arm, can make all the throws you want, and then obviously has home run athletic ability, on top of that. So, and Jaron, same thing. I mean, he's very athletic, makes plays off schedule, has very good football instincts. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited, and like Coach said, it's about competition. And it's a process for young guys. When they come in, and so it's going to be about trying to develop everyone in my room to provide the depth and competition that we need. So
the elephant in the room is, are you on staff, and what does it feel like to be on staff?
I can't answer. I know we'll probably be. I'll be here, but we're kind of hammering out the roles and different things like that. So he'll announce it when we can. So.
I know it's probably early to know this, but is there anything different that Coach Kleiman has you looking for in quarterbacks than maybe Coach Snyder did before? Any traits that he's really stressed importance to you guys?
A lot the same. Yeah. I mean, I think my big three are accuracy, leadership, and toughness, and I know he's right along that exact vein. And it's, we need someone that can lead the football team. It's very tough mentally and physically, and can make the plays when things are tough. And so these guys can do that, and I think we're both lockstep in that and what that is.
And then with Jaron, how far back does your relationship go with him, and when did that really heat up?
So I had him in camp last summer and got to work with him in person. Really liked what he did. Chris committed pretty early, and at that point, we were only going to take one. And so I had him on my list and in my mind in case something would happen that you never know what can happen. So and then when things happen and we had a transfer and wanted to add more depth, and he was one of the ones that we started to look at.